Yep.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bad Fanfiction Night. I am your host, Remy McNeil, and joining me, as always, is the wonderful Twilight Guardian.
Hello.
You may notice I am slightly different. The wonderful Liu Bizatsu has done a Final Fantasy themed set of images for the Team Jacked, and I'm a chocobo. Yay!
Was it a Kingdom Hearts theme though?
Oh.
It was more
very
Kingdom
cute.
Hearts themed, but Final Fantasy Kingdom Hearts.
What's the difference?
It's connected.
I cast no more pins, only sticky notes. Oh no, Ravenwood, he's calling out like I know nothing.
Oh no. Do we have any sticky notes?
How dare you think that
Hey, the
sticky
Wizard
notes will
Union
defeat my
needs the
pins?
pin, okay?
My
I think
pins
we've got
don't go through all.
20 here. Stickies.
But yes, today we are continuing our deep dive into Shadow of the Conqueror. Let's see, Phoenix, would you be interested in doing guest of a podcast known as the Walkie Talkie Podcast? An anime podcast that definitely has some takes that one host, and one of the hosts is a screen written. What is a screen written?
I'm assuming they meant screenwriter.
I know what I can assume what they said, but I was trying to be funny and making something up on the fly. It's called ad-lib, Zero. Get with the program
Yeah,
here.
it might be called ad-lib. I am half paying attention,
It
my
is-
good sir.
Remember to check what you're typing before you put it into a comment. You may get
What I like is
ridiculed.
people are like, "Be serious, Celtic Phoenix." Yes, this is
All
my
right,
serious face.
Well, the problem is that
This
the,
is his eager
I'm very
face.
quiet. Oh, am I?
Hmm?
Please tell me, am I on the wrong microphone again? Is this just the nature of things?
the wrong
Testing, testing.
Testing. 2, 3,
Testing.
5.
Yes, there we go.
Hello. One,
That
2, 3.
would explain some things. I know why things. I had a computer update and it probably reset my audio drivers. That's why.
Oh, Discord.
By the way, my spell stack per
Much
string.
better.
I don't know if
All
that
right,
works.
there we
And every-
there we ho. Oh no. I'm sorry, that guy on YouTube. We're stuck with that. We're hoeing now.
There we go.
Hey,
We out
let's
here
fucking go.
They didn't even edit the.
We're morbid
message.
now.
They did a second one with go.
I know nothing.
We're all Rune
Kids.
Factory up in this bitch.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. Well, yes, last time in Shadow of the Conqueror, you may remember that our main protagonist passed through the magical barrier and somehow just slurped 2 magical stones into his body and gained superpowers.
Yep.
And
I'll
you.
just call it one.
And
Because-
superpowers that
I'll
he
everybody
managed to
dies.
get a grasp on with no negative repercussions whatsoever within the span of, like, I don't know, a couple hours. Which doesn't
Yeah.
which sounds like, oh yeah, it took some time then. No, you understand, he had nothing else to do. He was literally falling for 9 hours learning how to use these
And he-
powers. He had nothing
And he
in
had-
his way.
You had a nice desk.
Absolutely riveting
He
training.
did have a
montage.
desk. It was a pretty sweet one.
Did he have 9 hours before he got the powers, and then however many hours until he got to the continent again?
Yep.
Yep.
That's how falling works.
It felt like it was 3 times that time.
Well, yeah, it felt like forever. I mean, it was hilarious just the amount of time it took for him to fall. Nothing happened that Celtic. I mean, let's be clear. We learned that he has special eyes now. He can reinforce every part of his body, hence the thumbnail.
Yeah.
He can magically do that, and that's what allowed him to change his body's
Yes.
density in order to land softly by doing that and reinforcing his limbs.
Fortitude.
Should have just packed
He
another
defied physics and is now considered a god among
He was
mortals.
bitten by a radioactive 17-year-old Gary Stew.
He invented
Yeah. Put
Oh,
this
no,
man on a watch
congratulations,
list
he is
again.
now a cartoon.
So he has the Crimson
Looney
Chin origin
Tunes.
story. Good to know.
That is
Ugh.
that's infinitely better
Ugh.
than what I was gonna go for, which is that he just opened up the console commands and just changed some physics values.
Creative mode.
Wouldn't he just use SVP cheats? No.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
that's
just
what
open up the
fine.
command console and get down onto the ground floor.
Yes, thank you, Lightning. Thank you. I was waiting for you to do that.
Oh.
What did he do? What did he do?
Thank you.
Okay, that's incredible.
I knew me posting that would work.
Also,
There's a reason.
great use of the hair editing.
Oh,
Crazy.
bro hit that
Okay.
god mode. Yes, yes, he did.
Finally.
Okay.
Why does this hurt my
Lightning.
soul?
Well, let's get into it. I think we're gonna try and pie in the sky. I think we're aiming for the full chapter, but we'll see. I don't know if we'll be able to hit that. If not, depending on where we are by the time we hit 7 pages out of the 28, we'll see where we're at.
Fingers crossed.
But yes, remember the rules. We love your comments, quips, jibes, and jokes, but we gotta keep a nice steady pace here. So if you can feel that something has ended, let it die. Don't try and keep a joke going or launch into a new one. We do gotta continue. And also, me and Twy are priority speakers. If we are talking, we expect you guys to quiet down and listen. Just making sure we're all on the same page there and we're all ready to go. Let's dive into chapter 4.
Hey.
In darkness, lesser shade are 5 times stronger and faster than any man. They can fly and see perfectly.
Cool.
See,
Still don't know what they are.
define perfectly. Like, do
Always
they have 20/20 vision? They don't get cataracts?
Do they not have the little blind spot inside of their eyes like we do?
You
They
shade both eyes?
they got
monsters.
LASIK. That's what this means. They got LASIK.
LASIK is crazy.
These
Greater shade
monsters.
possess the power known as light blaring, which grants them unique corrupt powers, such as killing plants by mere proximity, controlling dead flesh, taking hold of things and moving them at a distance, hearing others' thoughts, and sending horrifying images directly into others' minds. I am now projecting to you the image of Movie Bob doing a belly dance.
So much
God, no!
Ew.
I know
I
nothing.
hate
You gotta be
it.
wielding the pin like a sword.
That's what
Damn.
I'm trying. I'm not that good, okay?
He
doesn't
Like-
have hands.
Yeah,
He's
that's
doing
the wrong
his
kind of
best.
pin to-
Yeah, he just like a
Lightning,
VeggieTales
you know what to
character.
do.
That's the wrong kind of pin to sword.
I'm
fight
sorry,
with.
I'm like, yikes, detailed Raymond. I'm sorry, I have to give you guys the accurate experience of what these things can do. But being told of something is far different from experiencing it firsthand. I could never communicate or accurately the Shade's relentless ferocity, their lack of mercy, and their terrifying hunger for destruction. That was a completely useless fucking paragraph.
Absolutely.
Congratulations for the waste of time.
I haven't learned anything from this, actually. I don't know why.
Damon
is this,
had
foreshadowing
a new
or
life
something?
before him and a chance to make some form of
shadow.
reparation for his countless crimes, but that was going to attract attention, especially with his powers. If anyone started digging, they would find out whoever he claimed to be didn't exist on any nation's records, which were all detailed and extensive due to the Shade. Regular people turned into Shade, and by tracking births, deaths, and the population through annual census, something Dalen had pushed himself as a high priority when in power, the nations of the world could get a close approximation to the number of people who had gone missing and had likely turned. Add that to another thing that he apparently did right.
He's a
Oh, I work in
special
the
little
Census Department. Are you a
snowflake.
shade?
Your boy Neptune. Don't call him out for that.
Why are you calling him
Everyone
out?
knows shades have to answer honestly on the census.
Shades also apparently pay taxes.
There's what I'm waiting for.
Apparently that monster.
So mean.
So people
I love
turning
it.
into Shades. Got it. And he did a good thing by making like it very tightly tracked. I mean, this is the first thing you're worried about. My first thing I'd be worried about is how am I going to get home? Do I have a home? Where do I live now? Like, I'd actually be living about more worried about the more practical things going on.
Live in a nest, you're a bird.
With its renewed youth, Dalen resembled his imperial self once more. Old age had granted him the perfect disguise. That, plus the fact that he would have no recorded identity on any record. He would have no recorded identity on any record. Yes.
That's redundant.
Would raise some problematic questions. Light, a clever, I almost say cleaver, what the hell? A clever enough person might uncover his true identity. How?
So, question, does he assume that everyone he talks to just kind of in the middle of conversation goes, hey, sweet, let me see your ID and make sure you are who you say you are?
Papers and
Shake your
identification, please.
Papers, please. Every time you want to go take a dump, you gotta give it.
He basically has to be a criminal from this point onwards. Anything else and he'd be caught out by the first town guard, but only by
Also-
the first town guard.
It's also,
really?
Wait, does
Really?
this apply across borders? Because you could just lie and say you're from one of the other kingdoms.
No. The first
Also-
town guard. Truly, Epic Master. Thank you for putting in another pin. We'll keep that one.
Oh.
Also, the tiny question.
I thought someone said sticky notes. But see, someone seems to have enough pins to counteract that.
Welcome to Outskirts, Scott.
I
The,
know.
si- the simple sticky note shield cannot hold against my pins.
Frankie's
Unlimited
pin note.
pin
Can you stick a pin in it?
Oh my lord.
There was enough magic in the world to accept a person might regain their youth, though Dalen had never heard of such a thing. A light... my brain hurts. Either you have heard of such a thing, and thus it would be believable that you would be de-aged, or you have never heard of such a thing, which means it is not believable that this kind of magic would exist. Choose a lane.
Yeah.
Kindly.
Can I say?
Look,
Can I
if
have some
you drift your
ibuprofen?
car
My head
enough-
hurts.
Like, here's the thing. People are not typically aware of the magical level of the world that they are in unless they are an outsider from that world. Quite frankly. Like, that is one of the boons that comes with being an isekai protagonist, is that you have a different world from which to gauge the relative magical ability of everyone in the universe. So, you don't have that. You are from this world. You are used to all the magic of this world. You can't just say that.
Oh,
You should have just had a criminal die and come to this world. That would be easier for making people not know what the fudge is going on here.
And he has less of an excuse because. Oh, my bad.
All right, well. A Lightbringer could sacrifice themselves with the last miracle to bring back the dead. Only a single person, true, but if that was possible, why could youth not be returned? I don't know. That's actually a very fundamental question that you would probably have to ask the philosophers of your world. He's foreshadowing that this world is entirely comprised of isekai protagonists. Oh, God.
Damn.
How Dalen was walking around the proof he wasn't this world's mega Hitler.
Oh my god. Just a passport on his face.
Thank you for
Are
buying
you?
sweet.
No, I'm
Thank
John
you.
Johnson, guy from Place. Sorry.
Thank you for buying sweets, dearie. Name and identification. No.
I kind of want to write a world like that now, where like every single person asks that, like in like one of the countries. It's like everyone's paranoid as hell.
Lure it to us, Totska.
So Dalen needed to get back to his home and grab those valuables he would take with him, and then he'd head to the capital. There he would break into the records office and falsify a birth certificate. So I'm going to make this clear. The first thing that your main protagonist is planning on doing is crime.
Yeah.
That your main
False
protagonist who wants
identification.
to atone for his crimes.
Yeah.
By doing crime.
I shall atone for my
logic.
crimes through crime.
Yeah, now you're getting. See, now you're getting it.
Yep, that
Better
makes
commit
sense.
identity fraud. Here
Gotta
I go,
love
criminal
If he
again.
commits enough crimes, it'll eventually enter a negative loop to the point where it just resets to 0.
You
We
would think
love
that
crime.
Mega
Negative
Hitler had
and
already
negative
hit the
and
max
negative
on that
equals a
cap.
positive.
Oh, he hasn't.
Well,
has he reached
has
negative
he?
infinity yet?
Has he really?
Right.
We can do more.
We could do better. The high score can go up.
I was gonna say, like, technically speaking, if there's no one else left around to judge you, then technically speaking, there is no such thing as crime.
Yeah, no,
Remember,
Dude, it's
everybody,
only a crime if you get caught.
No, in the old Assassin's Creed games, if you kill everybody, it still means you did it all stealthily.
Yes,
and it's true.
No, these crimes are for a good. These crimes are for a good cause. I swear.
Okay, so he hadn't needed a false birth certificate while living as the old Tinkerer, as by his age it had been clear he had survived the fourth night, back when the records were not as complete. But now he looked 17, and the records of the current falls were very precise. Dalen nodded to himself, knowing what he had to do. Completely ignoring that people have illegitimate children all the time and probably don't put that on their records, I'm betting.
No, everyone obeys the law here. Come on.
Absolutely.
Everyone
Ed
is.
Savinsky says, you
Wait
and your
a second.
friends want to go drinking, but you were turned back to 12 years old.
Huh?
Also, by the way, your hypothesis is flawed, Celtic. Of course, in Shad's book, people wouldn't be having premarital sex.
Oh,
Oh boy,
right.
that's new can of worms.
Everyone always had their children in a legal hospital and files birth certificates immediately. I should never have doubted that. This is a very lawful society.
Indeed, yes. Everyone has swords.
We always report on our bastard children.
Admittedly,
There's just
quite
a doctor
foolish
who
of you,
slams
Celtic.
the door in
I
whenever
really don't want to hear a
they
sex scene
privately.
written by Shadiversity.
Oh, I do. I think it'd be hilarious.
Well,
Let's
just
just-
get it involved.
Too fucking bad, bitch.
Dalen
comment.
knowing what he had to do. There looked to be some type of farmstead in the far distance, sitting within a valley beyond. That's a sentence. He marched. Dalen expected to struggle as he walked, but his steps came more easily than he even ever remembered. Yes, he had already walked over a kilometer to the lake, but he was a little too preoccupied to notice a difference. His old, feeble body was gone, replaced with his new one. He felt strong and full of energy.
Okay.
The young have no idea what they have, Dalen said, reveling. He ran.
Wow.
He couldn't remember the last time he had done this, let alone the last time he had even been physically capable of it. It felt incredible. The wind in his face, the healthy exertion of his body. It was like he was truly alive once more. The burning purpose of it in his heart and the small joys like this pushed back against the darkness somewhat. His guilt, a soft weight on his heart, but ever present. Dalen eventually tired
Is
of
he
that
Naruto
kilometer or
running?
so. Yes, he is absolutely 100%
Picture of Naruto running.
Naruto running, yes.
It was
We love-
scientifically proven to be the fastest way to run in this world.
He could have run for
Absolutely.
longer, but he wasn't exactly trying to push himself. Instead, he decided to test his powers a little while he walked. He could channel light into 4 different attributes simultaneously. It made sense that this magic was called light binding, for binding was the most natural way he could describe what he was doing. Focusing on one of those paths, or bonds, he channeled light into his speed, and having caught his breath, he ran. Wind rushed past him as if he were again riding on Paraden's wagon. He was easily running twice as fast as he had been before. Stopping, Dalen looked back over the distance he had covered. Not bad, he said to himself, and then he began to think. Increasing both my speed and reflexes will make me unstoppable with a sword. So,
Oh, no.
Dalen said, speaking to himself, the old habit strong, because he's a protagonist in a mid-2000s adventure game. 4 different
Sounds like good
bonds
music.
to 4 different physical attributes, but I can stack more than one bond to a single attribute. Oh, but can I? Just noticed new avatar looks awesome. Thank you. Thank Liubi. Liubi Zatsu. Excellent artist. Highly recommend him if anyone wants commissions. Of course.
Remember, Dalen, don't stack any of your attributes into adaptability. It does nothing.
We'll talk later.
Yeah.
It gives you more iframes.
We'll talk later.
Does it?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Is it Ephraim?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Dalen tried to channel 2 bonds of light into his speed. He could feel the light passing through his body. He ran. Dalen shot forward at an incredible pace. In fact, his second bond seemed to have doubled the speed he had run with one. He had run with one. Okay, that's how I was supposed to say it in my head. All right. The wind stung as it blew past his face and drummed in his ears. Dalen tried to stop, skipping and sliding along the ground before finally coming to a standstill. He laughed in exhilaration. Okay, that was 2 buns. Now all 4. Dalen channeled his light and ran, supposedly starting slow, then pushing himself faster and faster. It was incredible, and then he hit a wall and died.
I wish.
Either that or fell off the side of the continent.
He just
That'd be
landed again
better
because he
than
can
this.
fly now.
That'd be way better than this.
The wind resistance acted on him like a weight on his chest, his clothes flapping about so violently that they felt as though they might rip free from his body. Each step was separated by at least 20 meters, the grass passing under him in a blur. He ran up a rise in the land, and before he realized what he had done, he had launched himself into the air like he had run up a ramp. Whoa! Wait, sorry. Whoa! There we go. He cried as the wind resistance took control now that he had no traction to apply a counterforce, and he went into an uncontrolled spin. Everything was a blur, and Dalen could think of no way to correct his fall and land safely, so he pulled all of his bonds off his speed and funneled light into his mass, increasing it. The stationary inertia of his new mass pulled him to a standstill in the air. Then he fell like a brick. Dirt exploded around him as he landed on the ground. Dalen shook his head, and when the dizziness cleared, he found himself lying in a small crater. With completely shattered legs, I imagine.
Professor Celtic?
Pin.
No,
yeah,
stick it out,
first
stick it
thing,
out.
there's a pen here, but Professor Celtic, when is the science lecture going to stop?
When morale improves.
It'll never improve.
Why didn't all of his bones shatter?
That is
about that.
There's a pin. Don't
See,
worry.
the problem is, I think
Yay.
Shad cast the spell on himself, and he just stayed dense.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Density of intelligence.
Implies he wasn't before.
Dalen shook his head, and when dizziness cleared, he found himself lying in a small crater. Right under the light, Dalen said, stunned at the force with which he had hit the ground. Dalen rolled over and placed a hand under himself, but when he shifted his weight to push himself up, his arm sank into the dirt down to his shoulder. My weight, Dalen said. I ate a Burger King meal.
God, I wish.
Light.
All it takes is one McRib.
Which is odd because I don't feel any heavier. Is my strength being increased to compensate for the increased mass? My question is, how do you know what a fucking whale is?
I was going to say,
They have sky whales, right?
No.
Sky whales fly.
Yeah, but
You would not associate them with being something heavy.
Yeah, the problem is that implies that somehow means that they are the same size as a whale.
Oh my god,
World.
Moopa! I
Even
love
then
the
it's still-
image. When they die, they become heavy. So there's a sky whale flying over the continent. It dies mid-flight.
Oh no!
Hell yeah.
I mean, the kinetic
I'm
strike
just-
because of a dead whale.
Oh, look at that! It's one of them orca
If there were
whales.
sky fun in this universe, doesn't that mean the sky would forever be filled with infinite loops of dead fish bodies?
Yes.
Right, absolutely.
That is a
Whales
good
are like the
point.
space whales.
What
from
do you think
Fanfiction.
the rain is made of?
Oh no.
Oh no!
Bastard.
Oh,
you bastard.
it's
no.
raining fish! Hallelujah! It's raining fish.
It's like when they blew up that whale in Oregon.
No.
DX321, how does he know the weight of the whale? Well, you have to understand, Dalen is the smartest boy ever, so, like, he, of course, knows this off the top of his head. Come on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's the smartest baby.
Because one thing I'm learning about Shad and his writing style, he does not want you to have any sort of nebulous thoughts about what's exactly happening. He must exactly measure what is happening in the action at all times. He cannot have a lack of precision.
Bro wants to be Brandon Sanderson so bad.
But that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, and it's not supposed to at this point.
Dalen released the bonds and pulled his arm out of the ground before he stepped out of the crater. The hole he had made was about 2 meters in diameter. He was covered in dirt, and brushing off his clothes only did so much. Dalen looked up and traced a path he had taken with a finger, trying to remember his height he had fallen from when his greater mass had stopped him in... Bullshit! No. I mean, there's so much bullshit already, but come on, man.
I can only suspend my belief for so much.
5 or 6 meters, he said to himself. From that height, the force of the impact, I should have broken some bones at least, but I barely made anything thanks to the paired augment in my body's durability.
What?
What?
Why are
Can
you
we
talking
rename-
like that to yourself?
Can we
This is
rename
gonna
Galen
die like a
Chadwick
normal
Strong
person.
Pants?
You see, the
He's
thing is,
trying to
this is
explain.
absolutely how Shad speaks to himself. But the thing is, like, he doesn't
Honestly,
actually
no.
have the answers that Dalen does. He just thinks he does.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Dalen paced.
But to resist injury, I could just increase my fortitude, and then I don't have to worry about greater weight.
What is...
What the fuck?
Okay, define fortitude. Like, fortitude is a metaphysical concept of the human being. Like, it's not something that's directly measurable. It's a bunch of different metrics all working in tandem. It's a very broad network of
you.
things.
Sorry. My bullshit
No,
allergies
you're
acting up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like you're Pathfinder in this motherfucker.
Why don't
you
die?
can't do that IRL.
You know those third party or indie Souls likes that change the stat names just so they can be unique from Dark Souls. What does
Yes.
Fortitude represent here? Does it represent defense or poise?
Con, obviously.
Poise.
Clearly HP.
If it's fortitude, probably defense.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, he got me. I can't deny it.
Also, by the way, if you can increase your density with these light bonds, if someone was crazy enough, couldn't they just fly up, increase all their weight, then kamikaze into a city and see what happens?
You mean become a frickin' javelin of Zeus?
Correct.
Jesus Christ, that's horrible.
They want to do the thing that Ultron did to Sokovia.
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
That's what a bunch of drunk dudes would do on a Saturday night for jokes.
That would be the greatest joke ever, actually.
This
All
wasn't
right.
a joke.
Oh, Alex Tatakai says he reached the kill zone at the end of the map. Therefore, he actually died and became Whale Yamcha and cratered his ass.
Nice.
I now want to see Whale Yamcha.
Okay.
I think that would be great. A whale that's just in Yamcha pose.
Sounds fun.
I don't want to scour the websites that would probably be on.
Oh no.
Wait, who said that?
That was lightning.
Lightning.
Okay. Let's see.
This may get a point for me.
Dalen channeled light through the each bond visualizing. Wait, where was I? Pack thanks. Dalen pace. But to resist injury, I could increase my fortitude, and then I don't have to worry about any greater weight. Dalen channeled light around each bond, visualizing his fortitude. The light flowed, indicating he had made working bonds. Dalen slapped himself. He felt nothing. He then pinched himself as hard as he could, trying to draw blood. He could sense the touch, but received no injury whatsoever. Guys, he's pulling a Sayaka. That's not a good sign.
Uh-oh.
We have to run.
Dalen ran to a nearby tree and slammed his forearm into the trunk as hard as he could. It tingled slightly, but the sensation was nothing close to pain.
Huh,
Dalen chuckled.
I need to get a better gauge of what each bond does.
Dalen released his bonds and looked around, finding some boulder and logs nearby. Finding a large rock that he could just barely lift, he found another. Their weights were close enough to make some rough measurements. Dalen went through the process of lifting those large rocks, and rocks of other sizes with different levels of enhancement to his strength. He compared those results to the enhancements he had received on different attributes. He is staring at a fucking stat screen right now.
Oh.
At least soul leveling has the courtesy to say status.
Yeah.
Ron Rock, and to his surprise, it was actually a lobster.
He should just pull out his character sheet.
Stop. Please.
No one heard that. Okay.
Dearie. Now name an identification.
Wait, what?
Name and identification, no.
No.
Thank you, Jedrix.
What the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Okay. Where was I?
Where's the heart?
Process lifting the rocks. Okay. He compared those results to the enhancements he received on different attributes. It turned out that the first bond seemed to enhance different abilities at different levels. One bond to his strength seemed to double it, yet one bond to his eyes enhanced them far more than just double. Each consecutive bond stacked after that, regardless of the attribute, doubled whatever previous enhancement was already achieved. Thus, all 4 bonds enhanced his strength 16 times as much. Using all 4 bonds on his sight was different due to the first bond having a greater effect than the single bond on the strength had. It was very surreal. With his sight fully enhanced, Dalen could see the individual cell structure of things within 5 meters of him. And then there was the weird shimmer of everything. It made him dizzy.
5 meters?
He turned him. Wait a second. He turned his eyes into a fucking electron microscope.
Yes.
Correct.
Electron microscope, dude. What the fuck is wrong with this dude?
Know what cells are?
Oh, he knows.
Remember, what is the technology level of your fucking
Celtic?
world?
Celtic. Remember, he's the smartest, bestest boy.
He knows everything,
Exactly.
bro. Come on.
Apparently,
Everything within his time period.
Oh yeah, Moopa.
Yeah,
Moopa's thing. By the way, he must master his new powers right the fuck now, and it will mathematically know the full scope of these powers.
Exactly.
And he will look cool doing
And
it.
the thing is, he's
Oh my
not
God.
even mastering these powers. He's just activating them and learning what they do. Like he's running through the
Round.
hotbar in a fucking RPG. Like he's not.
He's the guy who. He's the guy who reads
He did a
every
montage.
walkthrough and every guide and every speed run before he
Exact-
even buys the game.
Like I was expecting. You know what I would expect with like a simple drawback. When you enhance your eyes, if you're not careful, you're enhancing your night vision. But that has a drawback. Guess how bright the fucking sun is. Suddenly you're
Don't do it in the
blinded.
day.
Why not do something like that?
God.
Give us some negative consequences to the abilities that you have set forth for your character. There is no downside to any of these abilities as far as I can tell.
To quote,
Tag negative side effects over pussies. We always gotta make this guy look cool.
5 meters away is like 15 plus feet, Dreadnought, and also to quote Brandon Sanderson, the drawbacks of a power are more interesting than the power themselves.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
That a very simple example of
Very
this.
true.
In I watch Yogscast TTT occasionally, and they mod the
Oh, yeah.
shit out of their game. It's a lot of fun.
Good stuff.
But one thing they added in because it's just funny, they have a backward shooting shotgun. It's a very hyper powered shotgun that does an incredible amount of damage, and it has kickback that sends people flying, but it only fires backwards, which is horribly hard to use. It's almost impossible. But like that's what's fun about it. Is like using it practically takes a lot of skill and effort.
It's
And
like
otherwise
a
it's just a meme.
Shotgun
rocket
dump.
launcher from
Get
Cursed
good.
Halo.
Get good at 180s, boys.
Can I
It's
just say?
literally like the cursed rocket launcher from Cursed Halo.
Yes,
which is-
exactly. Cursed
it's
Halo,
made backwards.
perfect example of it. Way more
It's such an
interesting.
interesting thing because it's like you have to figure out not only the opponent but also yourself, which makes it a challenge, which is fun as a concept.
It kind of ironic
think-
that I'm
yeah, what is
re-listening
it
to
Sun
the
Tzu
Once
said,
and
if you know
Future
the enemy
Nerd,
and
and
know
they make a
yourself
point
and all
about
that.
having fantasy world having an incomplete atomic theory. There's something interesting to be said there about what level of silence a magical world has because you have so many different tools at your behest. And I find that fascinating. Like, wizards could, technically speaking, or theoretically speaking, discover atomic theory long before a scientist could in their magical world. But like, what means would they have through doing that? What kind of augury spells would they use in order to discover that sort of thing? Would it be through them trying to cast a certain type of evocation? Like, what is it that lets them do that? Like, it's the fascinating inner workings of the world that makes it so compelling. And there's nothing here other than I have superpowers now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially since
Wizards
since
can
this
cast
world
different-
to me seems like it's kind of like, I don't know,
Small.
Victorian England maybe,
I think
where
so.
where it's like, you know, just creeping up on the Industrial Revolution but not fully.
Except they
I
have
mean,
a bunch of
brother, we
industrial
passed
shit.
that.
I was going to say we're Victorian England if this was like Wild Wild West or Three Musketeers.
No,
You know the
poor
ones.
man's
I would just quickly say
Bloodborne,
this,
if you will.
This is like, was it diesel punk?
Steampunk Renaissance.
It's like around
yes.
diesel punk era.
Someone said
It's what happens when writers. This is what happens when writers don't really have a concept of what it's like in the before now. So they just like shove everything together.
It's why a good chunk of times with stories in anime, yeah, you have the old wise person who's like way more overpowered than everyone else. Why is that? Because they've been around way more longer and they've like used the magic system way better than you. Like,
I really want
there's a reason why it's a trope.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he's a medieval expert, quote unquote. He is not an after medieval expert, apparently, because he's setting a world that is not that is set after the Middle Ages. Like he's not in. If he wants to use his expertise and stand on that, he's not actually standing on that. He's making a world that goes counter to what he claims to be an expert in.
Yep.
And the thing about atomic theory is, it's one thing to discover that, it's a whole nother thing to apply it to the technology that you've created. I mean, yeah, sure, it's cool to know that atoms exist and everything, but when everything is like still horse-drawn and stuff, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah,
you know?
That's also a good question. That's also a very good question. Anyway,
Very good question.
This world feels so. This world feels so.
We're moving along then. His
All right.
powers are remarkable, Dalen said to himself once he had finished with his tests. He thought of the distance he would still have to travel to the farmstead. I think I have a solution. Dalen channeled 2 bonds to his speed. 4 was too extreme, as he didn't want to launch himself into the air again. Though he covered far more distance, he still tired after the same length of time, as if he were running normally. Dalen stopped and rested his hands on his knees, puffing to catch his breath. He would need a couple of minutes to recover. Or would he? Oh shit. Dalen channeled all his bonds into healing, and after a second, his energy returned in full.
No.
Oh, God damn it.
Now run, Barry. Run.
Why is he learning so fast?
Isn't he so cool?
Shad, you articulation motherfucker.
Oh my! This is the magic equivalent of rearm and reload on Monarch from Titanfall 2.
I would like.
Do not
I would like to
besmirch Monarch from Titanfall 2 by comparing.
Okay,
Do not besmirch Titanfall 2 in any way.
I'm sorry.
This pisses me off. You are just giving your main character all of the win buttons.
No, but trust, he's not a Gary Stu.
Like a god!
Can I also?
I was going to say I appreciate the fact that even in solo leveling, the like power fantasy mainstay of manhwa. You know what happens to Sun Jin-woo a good chunk of time? He gets the. Well, that's the comedy, but I was going to say that he gets his ass beat really fucking bad a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. He gets his ass destroyed.
I was gonna say, like, there's that manga. What was it? There's that horrible manga about fucking all of the mothers of the actor.
Oh yeah, that one.
Party, that one that's like legendarily. I read it as a meme because I'm like, where is this going? It's boring as fuck, by the way. I just want to keep up on this.
This shit doesn't pick up until the last
Oh
bit.
no, it does not pick up. Period. It is boring as they don't do anything interesting.
It's just on the ground.
But even they understand the main character has to get his shit kicked in occasionally.
Yeah, I feel like. Never mind. Go ahead.
He got kicked out of his party to begin with. Anyway, Yugox. So far, this feels like fantasy written like an MMO tutorial guide. Exactly. Anyway.
Yes, it buttons.
Nice. Shut the fuck up, dude. Dalen began running again, but this time channeled a bond to his stamina to maintain his pace for longer. It worked, and this time he didn't seem to tire at all, even with one bond. He shot across the land like a dark stone-powered coach. The wind beat on his face, and Dalen could feel his cheeks ripple. His hair pulled behind him, as did his long coat, creating a far more drag than he would have guessed. After several minutes, Dalen felt tired. Yet, this wasn't a normal physical fatigue. His body felt fine, yet something felt tired. In fact, it was harder to maintain the bonds he was channeling. It was the power itself, Dalen realized. It felt really weird, like an invisible muscle he had never used needing rest. Dalen tried to push on, but with every step it became harder and harder to maintain the bonds, that invisible muscle feeling more and more stress until finally, Dalen's bonds simply ceased. Dalen leaned down and by instinct breathed heavily to try and catch his breath, yet there was no breath to catch. He wasn't winded. He felt he could go on and on with no light binding, like he had just woken up from a nap, yet his body was sweating. Some new part of him had been pushed to its limit. Dalen could still feel the light around him, as if it were a physical thing. Yet as he tried to draw it in, his legs gave way and he fell to his knees. Whoa! He said as he fell. That was one of the oddest sensations he had ever felt. His body giving way, even collapsing while feeling physically fine. He got up without a problem. There's clearly a limit to how much I can use my powers, he said to himself. Whatever new ability he had that allowed him to draw in the light fatigued him when he used it too long. Makes sense. These powers are very intuitive. Too intuitive, some writers might say. He would have tried to use his powers in healing to help them recover faster, but at that moment his powers were gone. Dalen walked on, letting them rest. He had already crossed a considerable distance with his speed increased, and yet it took the remainder of the low fall to reach the farm, hiking through uncultivated lands, wild forests, and even a few old ruins. Before climbing over the post and railing fence that enclosed one of the nearest paddocks to the farmhouse, Dalen tentatively drew on the light. It came with a little resistance. So I've recovered a little, but with my power back, I can speed it up? Can I speed it up? Okay. So I've recovered a little, but with my power back, can I speed it up? He channeled the light into healing, expecting the channeling to get easier as a result. It didn't. So healing doesn't restore my channeling ability, but can I channel light into my ability to channel and help it recover? Dalen tried to switch the bond to his channeling ability, willing in his mind the same way he had willed the light into other attributes. The light within him was repelled as powerfully as if he had tried to drop an ice cube into boiling oil, rebounding and hitting the inside of his chest with such force it knocked him off his feet. God, that would be an image to see Shad get kicked off his ass.
This is the most obnoxiously boring way to explain diegetically an empty mana bar.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
he's just basically I kind of tuned out a little bit ago.
To
I'm
give
right there
an
with you.
Just a little
You
bit.
guys are bored too?
to give a small example that's kind of funny. In Way of Kings, when the main character gets his power, he basically can magnetically pull things to one way or another. There's different aspects, but moving on. He is the leader of a company, and once they realize his power, do you know what they do? They say, "Hey, make me float." And he makes them float, and then they start swimming in air and having fun, just shirking their duties completely.
The first thing anyone does when they get superpowers is fuck around with it.
Exactly.
Not
That's
to
the best
experiment,
kind of
but
thing.
just because it's fun.
You figure it out.
No, just fuck around to have fun.
Goof around.
Unironically, I joked
Do a
about
little
him
bit of
forcing
trolling.
his Johnson, but if he had actually made mention that he had done that just to experiment, I believe it. I fucking believe it 100%.
It's one of those things
extremely icky, but
well, no, it's the thing that
people would actually fucking do.
It's something that you would just do to just
It's
what?
asking the question: if you wake up as the opposite sex for a day, what are you gonna do? We'll take a guess what someone's probably going to do. Nine times out of 10.
Yeah, but I don't want this
there would be
character
a
to
lot
do
of
any of
things
that.
we could do, and would
I
do.
choose to remain silent on what I would do.
No, but
Can't-
probably
can't hear
old
it.
man.
I can
Yeah.
probably just
People
do
are
the
reminding me
exact
that
same
the new
I
Stitch movie
normally
is
do.
out, and that my voice is reminding them of that. Oh.
Oh yeah, that's
Anyway.
right.
He writhed and gasped for air before finally managing to say, "Wow, that was weird." You
So that
writhed
just
and
happened.
gasped for air and just, that's strange.
Why are you saying it like that? Why aren't you being like, that was not pleasant? Let's not try that again.
I was gonna say, before finally managing to say, and then after a few minutes and calming down, okay. Yeah, the next thing he says is accurate. After a few minutes, he recovered enough to climb to his feet. Okay, he said, don't touch the power with the power. Noted.
Don't touch the power with the power. What?
His chest ached. Dalen cautiously drew in the light and channeled it to his healing abilities. The light flowed through his body sluggishly, and though he could feel his fatigue disappear, the pain in his chest remained.
Interesting. I hope I haven't broken something.
Dalen rested on the fence rail for a minute before jumping over it. The pain spiked with exertion, but he was used to pain. He rubbed his chest as he walked.
Don't worry, he's got force healing.
Guess we're so leveling now.
Thank you, Dedorak, so much.
That's great.
The infinity symbol on the bottom is what makes it for me.
Yes.
Guess we're solo leveling.
The farm set comprised a quaint cottage in the old wattled daub style, which doesn't exist in this reality, but it has that name. With a tiled roof, 2 animal shelters, a wood shack, a chicken coop, and a larger barn. Smoke rose from the house chimney and flowers bloomed on vines that grew up one of the walls of the house and in garden beds near the door. It was the morn of high fall, and a man... No, it isn't. It was low fall. It was just quote-unquote nighttime. Now it's high fall?
Right?
How long did you take to walk here?
This guy does not know how to write things. Let's just...
I think he was too busy.
How does time work?
They measure it by a big rock falling, so...
Yeah, I know, but, Shad should be asking, how does time work? Because apparently he doesn't know, even though that he wrote it.
Yet it took the remainder of low fall to reach the farm, so I guess it's high fall now.
Cool. Actually, no, I got it. It's a video game. He entered a new cutscene, and it changed the time of day.
Dude.
Makes
did his
sense.
custom-made character
Fucking cop out.
That makes it worse.
Dude, it's exactly what he wanted from Elden Ring. It's crazy.
A man was already up and about chopping wood in front of the shack that housed it. Dalen approached the young man, who, after noticing Dalen, leaned his axe beside the chopping block and waited cautiously.
Light to you.
Dalen said as he got close enough. The farmer had a swollen face with sharp amber eyes. A rotund belly rested on his waistline, as round as his arms and shoulders. His blood-red hair was streaked with green, no tassel hanging from it. Had Dalen fallen into the western border of Frey? "And light to you, lad," the farmer said in a voice... "And light to you, lad," the farmer said in a voice as deep as his Frisian accent, which answered Dalen's question.
He calls me lad, and the man's holding but a pup. His man's nothing but a pup. Who does this disrespectful sunspot think he... Oh.
To Dalen, the man looked young enough to be his grandson, maybe 40 years old, but to everyone else, Dalen himself was nothing but a hormone-addled teen. This was going to take some getting used to.
Grandson when he was 80, by the way, and the guy looks 40.
Now that tracks. 2020.
That tracks.
Serial rapist.
Yeah. That could be a thing.
Wow.
That really could be a thing.
Back up.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I'll
step back. I'll step back.
Yeah.
You fool.
Fell for that one.
So far, we've only gotten one mention of that. We haven't gotten any elaboration on what he meant by that. So, jury's still out.
Don't worry.
Don't
Put
worry.
like 4 pins. We'll get there.
Correct. At least 4.
Oh, okay. All right.
At least
one
God,
for each attribute. Got it.
Yeah.
To Dalen, what brings you here so early in the fall? The farmer asked. Dalen couldn't exactly say he had just fallen from the continent without prompting a deluge of questions. Well, out with it. I've work to be about. His condescending tone almost provoked a good-tongued lashing, but Dalen held back. Barely.
Please don't phrase it like that!
I'm lost.
You look it! Truly, boy, did you take a walk through the brambles or something?
Boy, I'm no mere boy, then you are a goat. Why, I'm old enough to be... Well, I'm plenty old, all right.
Dalen finished lamely, completely forgetting again how old he is. Aye, the farmer said, nodding understanding. I was once your age, too.
No, you most certainly have never been my age, Dalen thought.
My son's going through the same thing. Wants more respect, yet shirks responsibility. The man turned and yelled, Gaiden! You out of bed! Your chores are still needing to be done.
I'm sorry, sir, Dalen said. I've had a long and complicated few falls, and all I seek is a bed to rest in. Could I impose upon you just for a fall?
Well, you're polite enough when you think to be, the man said, and you're clearly in some need. Come, I'll show you a bed. Dalen was shown to a loft in the farmer's barn, where 2 low beds sat. This is where my brother and I sleep when he and his wife visit. It should serve you well enough.
Yep, most definitely a Parisian.
That this man would give his brother's wife his own bed in the house when they visited confirmed with how women were revered in their culture.
What?
Revered.
Oh,
boy.
Wait.
Get ready. Get ready. No, Mupa, this is not a lie. Enjoy the next few paragraphs, everybody.
I'm sorry.
Oh boy.
After this break.
Oh, dear.
Thank you.
I think a bad time to come back.
I'm Tygo. Get some sleep, and I'll find you
That's
something to eat when you wake. And why? You're up.
Oh boy, she gets to read this chapter.
Oh no.
Well, this half of the chapter.
You're right, my bad. Half the chapter, yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Dalen fell asleep as soon as his head hit the pillow, and awoke a good 12 hours later with the sound of rain falling in the shingled roof of the barn. Dalen rose from the cot-like bed and, looking down from the loft, saw the animals had been brought in for the low. 2 milking cows stared at him in a way that said he wasn't welcome. Feeling at his chest, Dalen was pleased to find the pain gone. He stretched out his hand and felt for the light. With the overcast from the rain and the cover of the barn, there was barely any light to be felt. Dalen tried to draw in what he could, and the ability to do so responded instantly. Looks like I've recovered, he said. But he noted how sluggish the light came in when trying to channel in such a dark place. Dalen bound the light to his strength and found that he would not be able to make any additional bonds without more light. He stepped from the loft and fell 4 meters before landing easily. Okay.
Izanagi says, "What is this fresh nonsense? What is this fresh nonsense? Is this? Oh dear God, this will be painful, but I can't wait for the fallout."
Prepared to be disappointed.
There was no fallout. There wasn't even a
Just
crash
in
out.
case. One of the cows mooed in surprise, stumbling away. Walking to the single door built into the larger double doors of the barn, Dalen stepped outside. The barn roof had an eave large enough to be there with some shelter from the rain, adjacent to the wall outside. The day was so overcast that fall that Dalen could see glowing light shining out of the cottage's windows from the sunstones within. Most people from the world despised this type of overcast, feeling it was too like the night. They showed they knew nothing about what true night was like. Overcast falls like this simply showed what a regular...
Okay, first off, Deaderex, I don't appreciate you showing me not at my summer best. Personally, I have actually trimmed down, and my bench is far better. But you did get my legs, fantastic, very slimming. I appreciate it.
Got your
Also,
arms
the
right.
correct type of pins for sword fighting.
Good sir, my pins go wherever
Alright.
they are needed.
Hello, hello there, General Brooks.
I was going to say General Celtic. God damn it, man!
Oh, yeah, that is
Well, I'm
makes
not
sense.
fighting you.
General.
Shad is.
Oh, I see, General Brooks. I have been trained in your bullshit arts by an actual editor.
Lovely.
I'm putting this as my PFP now. I hope you know.
Good.
Good choice. Good choice.
Let's see here. Overcast falls like this simply showed what a regular fall was like in the desolate Shadowlands, where the southern end of the continent sat under the shadow of itself, causing little to grow and therefore was uninhabited. He would have left the farm that very moment, if not for how hungry he was. Tygo's offering of food was too much for him to deny. Dalen ran through the rain to the cottage, knocking on the door. Tygo opened it. "Come in, lad, before you get soaked." Dalen's teeth grated at being called lad, but he did so. He walked into the brightly lit home, the light feeling wonderful. The cottage's kitchen lay directly to his right, the family's dining table to his left, where Tygo's whole family was sitting. A sitting room and laundry sat beyond the other rooms, with bedrooms on the upper floors. "Oh, you're having dinner. Sorry, No, my wife has invited you to join us." Tygo's wife, a very large woman with breasts the size of melons.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh my god.
Already. No, don't
Why?
describe it like that.
Why? Okay.
I appreciate the cosmic irony as why is the one to say this line.
Dude, you don't understand.
I could make a comment about. I could make a comment about how weird it is and wrong it is to say that. But can I also just say that saying the size of melons does not narrow it down in the slightest? There are many types of melons out there.
You're up.
I was gonna say, like, maybe this is gonna be a one-off commentary. I doubt it. Benefit of the doubt, though. Maybe it's a one-off commentary. Maybe she just has exorbitantly voluptuous breasts, and it's like her most defining characteristic immediately to the first-time viewer. And every other woman we come into contact with will be described to their other defining traits that are not sexually bound whatsoever. I understand as I say this is not going to happen.
You're funny.
Why even humor the clown makeup when you say that, Celtic?
No, I hold proud my ability to give people the benefit of the doubt, but also recognize the lesser nature of most people as well.
You're funny, Celtic.
What's also hilarious is this is the page that I ended off when I last read this book.
Wow.
Well, that
You ended here.
got you that excited, did it?
Oh wow, dude!
Damn. That was brutal.
Easy to please, I see.
Look, no, Raymond, you're aware that murder is a crime, right?
Oh, yes, but as we've
You.
learned, in order to solve most crimes, you must commit more.
Alrighty. Sat at the head of the table like all proper Frasian households. Her scarlet-red hair was tied in a bun, her rosy round cheeks and smile so warm they might dry Dalen's clothes all on their own.
Oh.
Two young girls sat at the table's left, a shuttered window at their back, and giggled whenever they looked at Dalen. One was on her way to being as plump as her parents, but the other was uncharacteristically skinny for this family, which meant that she was only slightly thick of neck. Across the table from the girls sat an older boy, very much the image of his father in girth and face. A bare seat was next to him, awaiting Dalen. "With your blessing, matron," Dalen said, bowing to the wife. Her smile deepened at that, and she nodded. Dalen took his seat with Tygo doing the same. By the looks of you, I thought you were Hammeron, the wife said. I am matron. But you call me matron with all the respect of a native-born Frasian. I know a lot about Frey and the world. Light, I ruled most of it once. You're a credit to your parents, then. I am Luciana, and this is Aliciana, and Mariana, and Gaiden.
And I'm Diana.
Lightning, I have to ask, why does that ZZZ gif have like all the same energy of like, I don't know, a grindhouse porno flick?
Have you ever seen?
Bro,
I'm just going to. Have you? Okay, so Raymond, real talk. Have you seen the Bernie's trailer?
Admittedly,
No,
yes.
no, not the Bernie's trailer, the Caesar trailer.
I have not seen the Caesar trailer.
Oh boy.
Actually, it looks more like the 5-gum logo from those commercials. You know, like how it feels to chew 5-gum.
Stimulate your senses.
Yep, that describes ZZZ.
Alistair Boneman asks, "Hey Celtic, will you ever do more quick fix videos like you did with Wonder Woman 1984?" I wish I could, but my God, like the amount of effort that a lot of fixes have taken, and not to mention, I like to spend a lot more time dedicated to my craft. Quick fix was an experiment that didn't pan out, unfortunately, so I probably won't be doing any more of those anytime soon. I would love to, but I don't have the time to be quick.
Also, Leo, are we sure he didn't write this with AI? I mean, he published this a long time before the modern forms of ChatGPT came through, so I think he 100% did this himself.
Yeah, but it's just a testament to how bad of a writer that he still sounds like ChatGPT.
I don't deny that.
I feel like that's
that's what I was.
I've had some interesting interactions with that.
I mean, yeah, no, I will fully admit that I am insulting ChatGPT by saying that, especially because I have very lovely roleplays with some LLMs.
I can confirm that's
kind of boring.
It's weirdly good writing at times. I'm just like, hold the fuck up.
Yeah, at times.
It is
Which is more,
I will say
it's more than we can say for Shad.
AI
That
Dungeon
is for sure.
Somehow beating Shad for pacing.
ChatGPT uses him for reference.
Okay, where was I? The pup next to Dalen, Gaiden, glanced at him and nodded. Hi, he said, with a level of familiarity that caught Dalen off guard. Hi, Dalen said back. Which part of Hemera are you from? Gaiden asked. He must have been 18 years old.
Oh, Alex, how that guy says, so that's this guy's mum, except she's got huge melons. I mean, some serious honkas. A real set of badonkas. Packing some dobahonkaroos. Massive dobahonka-honkaloos. Big old honka-honka-hoogas.
But what happens next?
A new girl comes in,
bigger,
and she's got
even
even bigger honka-honkaloos.
Honka bro.
That's the whole concept. Just bigger is better, apparently.
Yep. The Treerim Prefecture of Old Sunson. A small town called Caradale, about 100 kilometers from Treramain. That was a really awful sentence. Holy shit.
Flavor Paladin Hot Take Ruby Project Alpha has better pacing.
I'm not gonna lie, that is how it feels at the moment. We have barely gotten anywhere
Stop calling people
as
pups.
of this point.
Stop calling people pups? No, but how is he going to express his furrydom?
Yeah.
He says pup as if it's just the correct way of referring to a child.
In this setting, it supposedly is. I give him that. I don't particularly care for it, but
reluctantly.
Wait, this is a land of shark people? Because you know shark pups?
Hold up.
Oh.
Yeah, baby sharks are called pups.
Look, if the shark girl from the big lady, if the shark girl from CZC wound up being here, then I'd be
well
thinking
done with the big lady.
Anyway,
See, that's
I
an
know.
average size bust for Dedorex. Anyway.
Raymond.
Sorry.
I will scold you too. You're not free of that just because you're a
The
host.
joke, I couldn't make the joke, it was slipping by.
No.
Nope, not allowed. I know of Sunsen, Gaiden said. Treremain sounds familiar too. You're leagues from home, lad, Tygo said. Dalen cringed inwardly at the use of that unit of measurement. The league had been used to represent so many values of the past that it was now completely unreliable. But Dalen guessed the farmer was using it in the more modern and unofficial way to mean 1,000 kilometers. Tygo continued. How did you come all the way to Frey and to Bison and all that's good? There's no main road here from the west. No offense, Tygo, but that's my business. It is, Luciana said. Tygo, you should mind your manners. Sorry, my wife. Luciana saved them from an awkward silence by asking Aliciana, the larger of the daughters, to bless the food. According to Frasian religion, called Matriology because women gave birth, they possessed a sliver of creation and thereby shared some of the godmother's own power.
What?
Which
I'm sorry.
What?
Guys,
Yes, we're just new religion.
hold up.
Continue.
Which was why only women could offer blessings. In Dalen's opinion, this was contradicted by the fact that men and women could receive divine powers as lightbringers.
Wait for it.
According to Matriology, women created life and men took life, both necessary acts as they saw it. A devout matrian woman wouldn't even uproot a craggot or pull a fruit from a tree and thereby end its life. That was the duty of a man. But as women created life, they were also the caretakers of life, and they would see to the raising of children, keeping their house in order, and pleasing their husbands.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
Wait.
Wow.
I know
Wait.
Brothers, hold!
Brothers, hold.
I mean, I kind of expected a lot worse based on all the build-up, so...
Oh, stop. I will mute you. This meant they would prepare the food after it had been killed. The light help anyone who got in the way of a matron woman and her kitchen.
Yep.
Yeah,
And there it is.
And you will never be killed by a matron in her kitchen because she's not allowed to kill because she doesn't take life. There you go. I beat the system.
There's worse things than death here.
Huh, but as a man, I can kill. There, I beat the system again. This is so fucking stupid.
This is
You can easily
Explains what
okay. I gotta
earlier.
you gotta understand when you're making a mythological religion of some sort, shape, or form. You gotta keep in mind practicality. A lot of the getting into what I know of, Christianity. A lot of the rules in, say, Leviticus were established because of practical reasons. There was a necessity to doing those things in the way that they were described for societal reasons, for just whatever reasons came naturally to the times.
Yeah.
So when you develop a system like this where women cannot even pick fruit, what the fuck?
Make any sense.
That's untenable.
Also,
where men can't do the basic housework, untenable.
Also, it's really stupid that women in this religion can't pick fruit because women specifically have better eyesight specifically to pick fruit. Like we see more like we see colors better than men specifically because we were the gatherers of the fruit.
Yeah.
The gatherers out of the hunter-gatherers.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
If I might humbly offer, this just feels like sexism either way
It is.
coded as a religion.
It is.
It does. It is like
As it
he's
is.
trying to make a very sexist concept into a he's trying to paint a very sexist concept with a coat of feminism.
Well,
saying
He's
that
literally saying stay in the kitchen, but for religious reasons.
If you can see colors better, then can you
two
tell me what the
things.
colors of the wind are?
The first thing is that he's trying to argue it's empowering, and he's putting a religion into the fact that women belong in the kitchen. But I'm stopping myself there. And also, Atriox says, like, permission to kill the chosen one, sir. I say not yet. But then Aiden says, I can. How about betting him we can do that? I can't bet
Turn him
anything
into
because
a woman. He won't be able to kill anyone then.
okay, fair, but
like I'm not against the idea of making a sexist religion in some way, shape, or form, or even have characters that are accepting of it, like the main protagonist in a setting that has it. The problem is this is just flatly untenable. There's no commentary here telling us that people will just skirt those rules because they just don't make sense. Like, what you would need is to actually establish a rule that works. A lot of sexist things can function, but, like, this doesn't on that level. It's like, just conceptually, this doesn't work. That's the problem I'm having with it, is that, like, it's not only does it violate all these things, but even in the world that you have built, it doesn't function, and that's the sticking point.
Yeah, that's why I said it's just making sexism, like modern day real world sexism, and sticking some lipstick on it and calling it a wonderful feminist religion.
It's like, so women can't defend themselves, theoretically speaking. Like, I mean, sure, you can maim, yes, I get that, but like, in any serious confrontation, the idea of taking someone's life has to be on the table. So that means that in a serious self-defense circumstance, a woman must then need a man at all times around them. They cannot themselves have weapons to defend themselves. They can't be like the Victorian
How
women
about
who would wear
this?
like
How about
the
this?
extra long needles in their hair in order to use as self-defense weapons. They wouldn't.
So it's
have...
Saudi Arabia.
I've got an idea.
I'm not trying to make modern political commentary, but
I was joking because, like, usually in some countries they claim they do that.
Are there any consequences for like violating the rules, as it were? 'Cause
that's a good
at that
question.
point,
Like, are there consequences for this?
Epic Master is trying to say something.
If they consider women the arbiters of life, then how about instead of they can't take life, instead they are considered so great that if they take a life, it is unquestioned.
Ooh, I actually like that because well, imagine
So
this.
it's like-
by the way, imagine this. Actually,
What if they?
a woman. No, let's throw this out. A woman with a knife attacking and killing their assaulter.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So
What?
no, we are moving on.
We have 8 pages we need to get.
We have
Sorry.
we
Yeah,
have
sorry.
been on this for long enough. Everyone bowed their heads as Elysiana spoke, though she giggled once when sneaking a peek at Dalen. Light, that was annoying. I bless this food that it will be healthy for our bodies and souls to heed it to all that is good. Dalen joined them all in repeating the words, to all that is good.
The greater good.
The greater good.
Oh no.
So he's gonna
Tygo
fuck the
eyed
mom,
him.
right?
Tygo eyed him as the younger sister served the stew. You're a matrion? He asked. No, Dalen said. But dedicating anything and all that is good is something I'm all too happy to do. Would you object to learning more of matriology? My wife is ordained. Sorry, but I'm a light seeker. But light seeking is a blatant but light seeking has a blatant hole in its doctrine, the matron said. So I've heard, but you believe there must be a specific act to purify someone of their sins. They're just insulting each other's religion now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the
Average.
mate.
Religion
This is
isn't
an
as
average
cool as my
conversation.
religion.
I got it.
Like,
You're a god.
Oh God. Continue. I have thoughts, but I lost.
Yeah. only after they've repent, Tygo interjected. Yes, Dalen said. And Matrians disagree with light seekers who believe the light can forgive sin by its own power without the need for cleansing or ordinance. As little objection anyone would have to Matriology's cleansing ordinance.
Okay, now I remember what I was going to say. So he's really well read on like every religion ever, right? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you, your boy Neptune, for the greater
have
good.
to read all of this?
Damn, Neptune! Holy crap!
For the greater
he's
good.
He's coming in for Joe right now.
Yeah.
This week I'm Joe.
Just 50 monies, not 50 subs.
Nameless immediately. Will you shut it?
Will you shut it? He's immediately an expert on all these different types of religions. Like I find that very frustrating for someone who was very much a dictator. Like it feels like someone of his stature would dismiss other religions.
Remember, when he was the evil dictator, things were actually better under his.
Yes,
So
exactly.
So
it's one of the things of like he's trying to go for like sort of an Alexander the Great approach where he conquered something and said, yeah, you can keep your governance, you can keep your religion, I don't care, move on. That being said, though, Alexander certainly didn't keep an encyclopedia of the different religions he conquered.
Advisors.
he had people for that.
Exactly.
If you had a grievance, his people would send a carrier pigeon to your people.
You got. I want to read the Raven's duology now. I have no idea what that is, but I assure you it's better than this.
It is.
Probably. Anyway, moving on. You mean the sacrament, which can only be properly performed in marriage, Tygo said, pointing with his spoon. Mariana passed Dalen a bowl of stew, which he took with a nod of gratitude. Yeah, but you can't tell me that's not enjoyable, Dalen said. That comment made Elysiana and Mariana blush. Gaiden huffed a chuckle. As it should be, Luciana said. Redemption is a joyful thing, the very reason the Godmother made the sacrament so. And the cleansing of sin is not about power. The Godmother has all power and could make it the trees simply appear in the world fully grown, and yet she has seen fit that trees grow in a way as she has prescribed, as she is with cleansing the corruption that sin leaves within us. Dalen swallowed a spoonful of stew. Light that it was good. You could always trust plump people to make good food.
What?
Okay.
That joke.
So this is
There's
never
a
trust a
saying,
skinny
never
chef.
trust a skinny baker.
I mean, Izanagi says, F it, we going live. In all seriousness, God Matriology seems like the mud lady level crap that people used to pull. Also, God, Dalen's nonsense with religion just feels like smartest boy in school. Yep.
I imagine this entire chapter has the same energy as that one, like, you know, the meme L'Oreal, like, meme with the guy, like, throwing his fedora back?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Anyway, I can agree that the light will prescribe what it sees fit, including what one must do to be redeemed. Or what one must suffer for their sins. Dalen's expression must have conveyed a measure of his feelings on the matter, for Tygo and Luciana looked at each other in concern. Anyway, Dalen said, we should discuss this through the fall and get... Sorry. We could discuss this through the fall and get nowhere. There's enough disagreement within Matriology's own denominations to prove that. You and your husband are clearly Matrian Orthodox, as Tygo claimed that the sacrament only cleanses sin in proper marriage. That's enough spousums through Frey that proclaim a different interpretation. Holy shit.
Too many words, too much explanation. Get to the point!
Just skip it.
Never.
More explaining.
Snowy Spider, holy crap! I am.
You're missing out, young one.
The best part about this is if you look at Dalen, like you look down and the curve is ass cheek.
Yes.
Sorry.
I don't want it.
Oh, it's a critique.
You just
of
got a good
Catholicism.
run in, bro.
I'm sorry,
There's a
I've been
bu-
like spacing out because it's so bad.
There's a broom.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Well, we're also having a conversation on arguments between fake religions, so that's also very boring.
Fake religions we have no
I wish I
investment
could
in.
space out
Like
enough.
that's probably the
Yes.
like we're having arguments over religions that we have no investment in because we don't like our main character. We don't know these people. We don't know anyone in this point other than the main character that we don't like. So it's like I don't care.
Yeah, and then immediately after learning about this religion, we get into a religious spat over the fact that it's not his religion.
God, I'm just reminded. You know who did this better? Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, didn't it?
Like the entire idea that like Titus runs into the first chamber, like oh, you must not break the sacrament. He's like I care, and runs in, and everyone's like, what the you can't do that, and he does. And like that has long-standing repercussions on his standing within the group, and people actually judge him for it. And you can feel there's a whole societal thing going on to these people that have been nothing but accommodating to him, and he violated their trust by breaking one of their most sacred oaths. Like,
Nah, man. It's all the L-beds. They're the issue.
He just charges in,
happy festival
bullheaded.
fireworks, yeah.
Can I just ask, wasn't the story about a dictator who wanted to kill himself?
Yeah, but now he has to bang one of
Yes.
the wives or daughters.
Well, you have to understand, that's chapter 3 stuff. We're on chapter 4 now.
Yeah.
But I feel like we just made a
Hey, he had
ginormous
little
pivot.
Now it's proxy Mormonism versus proxy Catholicism, neither of which are properly represented here. I'm betting.
Anyway.
It's not.
Lucy, shush your faces. Luciana scowled. They're glorified whorehouses. The son, Gaydon, stifled a childish laugh. Luciana turned to him. And if you ever visit one of them, I'll cut off your manhood. I know, Mother. You tell me whenever they're mentioned. Yes, and may the godmother see that you remember. They all returned to the food, only the casual comment or question breaking the silence. Remember to keep Dalen's bowl full, Mariana, Luciana said to her daughter. When married, it will be your honor to see that your men and boys are fed. Dalen's a growing boy, after all. He needs his strength. There was too much intention in Luciana's eyes that when she said that, clearly weighing up Dalen as husband material. Mariana refilled his bowl and handed it back to Dalen, who was all too happy to have another serving. Light he was hungry. The girls giggled once more while looking at Dalen as he snapped, slamming his hand on the table and glaring at the little nits. Wow.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, these women are eyeing me up. I'm so irritated by all the sexual attention that I'm getting from these young virile ladies. Like, great, dude.
Woe is me.
Woe
At
is
that
me.
age, I'd either ignore them or not notice them.
You are 88 years old. You can ignore a couple of giggling girls. I promise you that.
Yeah.
I gotta get going.
Oh,
Good
see,
night.
man.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just
throw
there's
it
something
back.
I have to say that I can't. So
No, we're
why is he using his
moving
name?
on.
No,
We are moving on.
fair enough.
Moving on.
What in Light's reach is so black and funny? Now, Luciana said angrily. You'll watch your tongue under my roof. Feeling both shame and resentment at being addressed by a lowly farmer, Dalen forced out an apology. I'm sorry, matron. My temper can get away from me. If this woman knew who Dalen really was, she would piss herself and then run into the hills with her family. 'Tis a failing all young men have, I'm afraid, the woman said with a glance at her son. Now, girls, why don't you answer young Dalen's question? Tygo sat there silently, but seemed to be enjoying the drama. The girls blushed and squirmed in their seats. Nothing's funny. Then I expect to hear no more laughter from the two of you. Yes, Mother. Everyone returned to their meals until Tygo asked
His crotch is
Dalen.
glowing with sunlight.
I hope you know.
I forgot to turn that off.
Again, the placement of the red dot in your thumbnail, fucking diabolical, good sir.
It's like he's got 3 eyes glowing.
What?
Everyone returned to their meals until Tygo asked Dalen another question. Your parents must be worried about you being so far from home. Too many questions. There were no real harm.
Ask one question. You ask too many questions. You must die. Just pulls out a knife and just starts stabbing.
There was no real harm in these simple folk, but if anyone more official pried like this, there would be trouble. Dalen needed to reach the capital sooner rather than later. For now, he spoke the truth. My parents are dead. How did you take care of yourself? Luciana asked. I fix things. Most people call me a tinker. Luciana swallowed a mouthful of stew. Ah, tinker. You must be good with your hands and have a sharp head to make enough money for such a trade. I get by. I hope that you would tell us if you were in some form of trouble. No, not really. Luciana looked at Dalen a bit stunned. Very well. You're welcome to stay as long as you need to, so long as you work. Dalen looked outside and was relieved to see the rain letting up. Thank you, matron, but I'll be heading out after dinner. And thank you for the food. It's delicious. Luciana beamed. Follow the road heading east. That will take you to Adria's Brook, a small village, but a weekly coach is 2 falls past. You'll have to make your way to Buchenbright along the main road. It's about a 4-hour walk. Then that's where I'll head. Tygo nodded to Dalen. Now, lad, you should be carrying a sword while you travel. These lad comments were getting old. And of course Dalen knew that he should be traveling with a sword. Light. People weren't this condescending when his appearance matched his age. No matter, the boy next to him seemed disgruntled with his parents.
No, you were pretty irritated with fucking everyone you came across, calling you old man. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
You're just a twat.
You're just an asshole. That's all you are.
An absolute penis.
Well, to be fair, he's not being an asshole to them. His just internal commentary is a dick, which is
he's
better.
a bad person.
But
It doesn't help things.
It doesn't help us.
How
as
dare
well.
these people refer to me how I physically look? They're referring to me as young. The absolute bastards.
Young man! How dare you call me young?
I don't have one, Dalen said, trying to mask his annoyance. I can see that, Tygo said, scraping his spoon along the bottom of his 4th bowl and eating the last bit. He rose and walked.
Did you know that?
Jesus Christ.
Look, if it's a good stew, 4th bowl, man, I'll take that, and I'm skinny.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
If it tastes good, me eat.
He arose and walked to the corner of the dining room where the old chest lay buried under rugs, brooms, and whatever else home wanted out of the way. We've had some trouble with hill cats this summer. Now, they shouldn't pose much danger unless they're particularly hungry. Still, you should watch yourself on the road. Aside from hill cats, you might come across some wild dogs, and there's been a tale of drakes flying down and grabbing people. If they were going to lecture others, something they were more than willing to direct at youth apparently, they might as well get their facts right. Drakes don't come down to the surface, Dalen said matter-of-factly. It's too far from the shrubs that grow on the underside of the continent. Shrubs? That's what they eat. Drakes are herbivores. But the stories? Myths told to scare little children. Oh, I didn't know. Tygo was silent for a second before pulling the chest out. In any case, you need to be careful. Apart from what I said, bandits roam the hills, and that ain't a story. Tygo opened a chest and retrieved 3 old broadswords. One.
I was half expecting him
Go
to be
ahead.
like, "Isn't? Please use your proper grammar."
Yeah. One with a basket hilt, and the other two having more common swept hilt comprised of quillions, loops, side rings, sweep rings, and knuckle guard.
Is
And
this the part where he picks a starter Pokemon except they're swords?
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
Actually.
okay, let's take wagers here. Is he going to be a grass starter, a fire starter, or a water starter here?
Definitely fire.
Fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Leaf.
I should not have even asked. He's too
I
edgy to
mean,
not be
you
fired.
fool.
Twy got the right of it instantly, so.
Yeah. Galen glanced to the other side of, to the side door of the home, where 5 other swords in better condition hung sideways on a rack. One for each member of the family. 2 back swords, a broadsword, a longsword, and a war sword. Ever since the second night fell over 1,000 years ago, most people of the world realized that nights weren't one-off events. Since that time, every man, woman, and child owned a weapon, and was taught how to use it in preparation for the oncoming dark. These falls, it would be extremely odd to see a home of any nation that didn't have a weapon for each person who lived in it, if not more.
Shad, hold on a minute. How does that square away with the whole matronism thing?
Mm-hmm.
Because I immediately
No.
is disproving, like, unless you are going to say that, oh, shades aren't considered things that are worth of, but they are things, like destruction. You still need to destroy them. And that's still a man's, but so a woman
Congrats,
wouldn't be
by the way.
trained at all in swordsmanship.
Celtic,
congrats,
Celtic.
No,
It
no,
squares
they
away.
should only use the swords
You
in
have
the
more
kitchen.
of a brain than Shad.
It's just cutting
Celtic.
garlic with a broadsword.
No.
Celtic, it squares away the exact same way that I can put my bonds of light to any body part, so I'm going to put them on my fortitude.
Yeah, I was going to say congratulations, Raymond. You have figured out one of the many pins.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Yay.
You get
Also,
nothing but
for
congrats.
future reference, please don't cut each other off. Alright.
That's what the broadswords are for.
Like Hamera, Frey had strong dueling culture, but the people didn't wear tassels to mark their victories. Tygo pulled each sword out of its sheath and inspected their blades. Each one was in some state of disrepair. He picked the best and handed it to Dalen. It's an old sword and not too sharp at that, but it'll do the job. Thank you, Dalen said, taking the blade. Having the sword at his side was like a river having water flowing through it. It was just right. I don't suppose it has a name?
Wait,
Luciana huffed.
Isn't water running through a river, like, not just right, but necessary? Like, are you saying you're dead without a sword?
Oh,
you don't
well.
exist without a sword.
Here you go, Raymond.
Matrian women, yes.
It is a good
If it did, it's long since forgotten. Anyway, I'd say that this sword isn't grand enough to bear a name. Any sword that saved a person's life deserves a name. Don't know if it ever has, Tygo said. You're free to name it whatever you like. I might, Dalen said, rising. Thank you for the meal and bed, he said before placing a dun on the table. That's not necessary, Luciana said. Common decency isn't worth coin. You're right, it's not, Dalen said, leaving both home and his coin before they could reply.
Cool guys leave money behind for people. Celtic just
Thanks
thank you
for the
again.
20
And also,
gifted
your boy
members.
Neptune, thank you so much for the 20 gifted memberships. Everyone that got caught in that, I hope you enjoy the month of membership here on the channel. Enjoy the emotes that you get. And you're also stuck here with us forever. Not
You're
just
not
welcome
allowed to
forever.
You sold your souls.
Well, someone else sold their soul.
But yeah, that was we got through the entire chapter. We actually made good time. We're learning how to read.
Thank God I'm exhausted.
That was
That means
That
we
was
don't have
horrible.
to spend enough.
It wasn't as bad as last. I would say
So-
it was better than last week's chapter. Last week's chapter was just I'm falling. I have superpowers. I'm falling. Now we have actual characters and people interacting. When you have
This
to make
was the
declarations
good
and
thing.
defend.
Last
But was
chapter
it good?
literally
I feel like
Get on with
that's
it!
generous.
I mean, you're right. We do have.
But was
actual
it good?
characters. It's a
No.
shame that we had to be
Okay,
introduced
we have
to them.
conversation, and now we've
Yeah.
introduced to a whole religion. Yeah.
Well,
Got a
we
little
have
bit more.
conversation that is like just an excuse for him to exposit again.
Darn, I had one more doodle in the works. Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Dedarex.
You could show me.
Save it for next week, or just throw it at us whenever you feel like it.
You can
because,
unleash your
You could show
powers
me.
whenever.
left out once again. Dedarex just never getting hit with that membership, man. That sucks.
Damn.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you all had a wonderful time. I know I did with some of the conversations we got to have.
Yeah.
This
Man.
This was the chapter where
Matriology.
I finally accepted that this book is worthy of the cringe we usually read at Bad Fanfiction Night, because previous chapters it was just so boring.
Yeah,
So,
we finally got,
can
got a spike in cringe. It's good.
Can I unleash my true power of I know
So
spoilers?
slow.
There's
No.
one.
Okay.
No.
It's
One
define
of
funny.
this. It's one particular thing.
Define the boundaries of this. How far ahead are we talking is the spoiler, and how significant? Like on a laugh
It's
ratio
nothing.
of 1 to 10.
Insignificant.
It's
as
insignificant.
as what just happened in this chapter.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If,
So
if
I
zero,
will
if
unleash
you
this
and zero
power.
are in unison with this. Okay. You've blessed it.
So, you know the whole religion talking about everything here?
Oh, you're just gonna talk about the what? Are you going to
It's-
talk about the redemption thing?
No, I was going
No,
to talk about the fact the matriology thing that's happening here. It's only relevant and spoken about this chapter. It
Oh my
doesn't
God.
exist for the
It
rest of
means
the book.
nothing.
It never gets brought up.
It's worthless! Then why did you bring it up?
Oh my god.
Because Shad
World
was
building, I
trying to
guess?
beat the allegations.
Yeah, it's
Oh my
just
God.
this
So this-
chapter.
Oh
This is the only chapter it comes up.
Oh my god.
So
You
this
know, I'm
sexist
so
for
glad
one
we
chapter.
wasted our time on this.
So
I
this whole
have-
chapter was a waste of time.
Oh my god.
I feel the limited years of the very limited years we have on this earth creeping ever closer to an end.
So
Shad for
I could have
that.
gone to bed. I could have gone to bed
basically,
earlier.
he gets giggled at by a bunch of girls, gets a sword, and goes on his
Because-
merry way. That's all
Yes.
this
He's
chapter was.
young and hot
Correct.
now.
Oh my
Correct.
god, he's so hot.
No, he had to make
So
fun of
daddy.
Catholicism. That's very important. There's a lot of things to criticize Catholicism for. I don't know if he ever actually hit on any of them in this chapter. Because I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait, someone said Catholicism. I'm like, what? Where? I was raised, dyed in the wool Catholic. I know Catholicism pretty well. I did not recognize Catholicism in anything he described there.
I could recognize it in how he specified how, like, the matriology, they think, like, relief from sin comes from doing a certain specific act of contrition, while his religion, it's, like, self-found.
Is he talking about the fucking tithes? The fucking whatchamacallits?
Mormons have ties, so it can't be that.
Oh,
I think he's talking about confession.
oh, confession.
Oh, that.
Oh God, that's a fundamental misunderstanding of what confession is.
I know.
Oh my
You know-
God.
I'm also the honest guy.
You
know
okay?
what? You did that for
And
me.
also,
Thank
I
you
think,
so
like,
much.
general, and also I think like general commentary on the role of Mary in Catholicism, which people outside of it misconstrue.
Right. Yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I
It's
don't
the
know
whole
much
saints
about-
thing. Like people think
At
that's
the,
worshiping other deities, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's the end of the day. This is the only time this religion happens for the entire book, and because there's no book 2, it doesn't get brought up again. So congratulations, this is the one chapter of Shad feminism, for lack of a better term.
Shadinism.
I have.
Shadidism.
God and
This
make
is
it
reverse
Except
feminism.
the D is a
I
T.
must also add, I have been waiting for weeks to get to the one point. Like, I made this before we even started. I made a little dumb drawing, and I was so excited for it. It's been fucking months. because this book's so goddamn.
I think.
Also,
can see it now?
Shad's obsessed with food and how good the wife cooks food. He loves to brag about his wife's cooking all the time.
Is his
I mean, that's
wife
fair.
portly?
We have,
I have no
no idea other than he likes to make AI versions of her as Supergirl.
Right. I forgot he did that.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
all we know about her wife, or his wife.
And I'm sad that
Oh,
I
my-
now know who does that.
Oh my
God,
goodness,
I feel sorry for her because if your husband is doing that, then
Oh no! If I
my
understand
God,
it,
he is a
they
chump.
met at the same church. I'm pretty sure she's in as deep as he is. With
They're both Mormon. I think she's fine.
Yeah.
Well, she's
with it.
because she is Mormon. She's not really allowed to have an opinion on what he does.
True, that too.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you had a good time as we did. Remember to support us on the Patreon or membership. You can join us here in the Tundra and join these every single Friday night. And join us for the Team Jack streams every single Wednesday. We're currently going through even more bad
Unicorns of
fiction
Valinor.
with Unicorns of Valinor.
Yeah.
Alex Satakai, I just wasted 10 seconds of your life. How do you feel?
I'll waste
Oh,
10
quickly.
seconds
10 seconds older.
Oh,
Yes, right?
Quickly, Raymond.
Yep.
We are 4 chapters into this book, and we are 4 books into Unicorns of Valinor, which is worse so far.
Oh,
I feel like there's a correct answer.
I feel like
I mean, I have more fun with Valinor.
There's more to chew on with Shad's book. With Unicorns, it's like a marshmallow made of air with Unicorns, where like everything is sticky and all over the place. Shad is like it's like if you took roadkill and cooked it on a grill. There's technically more
marshmallows
meat on
are
the
sweet,
bones, but it's not any better. They're both bad in their own way. It's hard for me to measure because they're both different types of bad.
Marshmallows are
Australian
sweet, man.
yes.
I'm just saying.
I have had more fun with Valinor personally. I would say yes. Valinor is
Yeah.
more entertaining in that way.
It's fun. It's fun.
I
It's
mean,
nice
I
to
would say
listen to the story with your commentary. This just feels like you're trying to give yourself an aneurysm with a pickaxe.
I would also say I do have a lot of my fun with Valinor comes from a little teddy bear lore.
Yes.
Your
Yeah.
lore is fantastic.
That is awesome stuff.
There should
I
be
love it.
separate
Shad's
streams
just sticky
dedicated
for a
to
different reason. All right.
Like,
and on that note,
Teaser.
Okay,
thank you all so much for joining us. And
You
we'll catch
don't
you all
understand.
on the flip side.
Bye.
John,